A while ago, I did a video on a vertical fist, this punch here, which is very common in Wing Chun. It's also called Chung Choi or Sun Fist. And here recently, someone responded to it by saying that it was not an effective technique in a street fight, and that they would prefer a looping punch or a wild swing like most people use in a street situation. Now, either this person does not study and train in martial arts, or this individual just seemingly really doesn't have any knowledge of science of fighting at all in physics. If you were in a fight, a street fight, and you were defending yourself, and I'm always going to speak more on the individual who is the defender as opposed to the aggressor. But if you are a defender, if you attack someone and your technique is effective, it doesn't matter if it has 5 pounds, 10 pounds, or 50 pounds of force. If they all work, bravo, that's good. So I understand or comprehend where he's coming from. When you draw back, you generate velocity or momentum, and when you make contact with the target, you're going to possibly create more damage. Not always, just depends on where you strike your opponent. But on the other hand, when you use the straight punch or the vertical fist, you can have just as much power, if not more. It depends on a few factors. Number one, how big of an individual are you? How muscular are you? How do you train? How have you been training? You see, you have to develop the tools. The individual that's only looking at it from a street side of a view, if you will, that's all they know. If they don't actually study the science of fighting, coupled with physics, the way the body works, when you're looking at musculature, when you're looking at how thick are your arms and how agile you are, how relaxed are you when you execute your technique and so forth upon the point of impact, you really don't know what you're talking about unless you know how to factor those things in. So, for example, if you hit someone on the chin and you're a boxer or a street fighter, this is pretty common in boxing, that chin shot. And most of the time people are knocked out. But if you hit them with a palm strike in that same area, guess what? You can knock them out. The same is true with the vertical punch. You can knock them out. It doesn't take that much force. So of course, if you come here and swing and hit them in that same spot, you're going to knock them out potentially. So what was the end result? It was the same, irrespective of the technique that you used. So to say that the straight punch, vertical punch I should say, or the sun fist is ineffective, why are you comparing it to a looping punch when it's straightforward and direct? I would rather use a technique that is going to take me from my foundation straight to the target. In other words, if my opponent is standing directly in front of me, I don't want to be telegraphing punches like this, swinging. I understand or follow what the individual is trying to achieve in terms of knocking the other person out, but that's not really scientifically proven when we speak in terms of efficiency and economy of motion. And I'm talking about that for a moment. Economy of motion. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. It's also directness. Why am I going to let my opponent know by cocking back, telegraphing what I'm about to do, and then striking? That's 2 counts. 1, 2. What if they're prepared for that? I know sometimes people throw those haymakers with their arms down beside them and they just come out of nowhere. But if you watch the body language, keep the proper distance, you can avert that situation. But in terms of what gets there quicker, I pick the sun fist all of the time because it's straight and it's direct. And again, you must train your techniques. You must do the proper exercises, the proper conditioning exercises to make it more and more effective. That's it, and that's all.